Sometimes the most painful moments happen in the places meant for joy. And sometimes the greatest kindness comes from the people we never expect. Tonight's story begins in a quiet restaurant on a rainy evening, where a young deaf woman sat across from a man who was supposed to be her blind date. And where her heart would be broken in the most humiliating way. Until someone at the next table made a choice that changed everything. Before we begin, if you love stories about kindness, second chances, and the unexpected goodness of strangers, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Diaries, hit the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. Her name was Lily. She was 25, soft-spoken, with a blonde ponytail and a red dress she only wore on special days. She had been deaf since she was 4 years old, but she had never let that keep her from dreaming of love, of connection, of someone who would look at her and see more than a disability. She had met Daniel online. His messages were sweet, his smile confident, and he had seemed genuinely excited to meet her. She even told him about her hearing loss before agreeing to dinner, hoping honesty would prevent surprises later. He said it didn't bother him. He said he admired her strength. He said he couldn't wait. But as Lily sat at the elegantly set table, gently smoothing the napkin across her lap, she could feel something was off. Daniel was already annoyed, his leg bouncing, his eyes darting around the room like he wanted to be anywhere but here. She tried to sign hello with a big smile, hopeful and open. He sighed, grabbed his phone, and typed a quick message for her to read across the table. "You're prettier in photos." The word stung. She forced a polite smile and typed back that she was happy to finally meet him. He barely glanced at her message before waving the waiter over with impatience. Lily felt her heartbeat growing louder in her chest, something she didn't need ears to hear. At the next table sat a man named Aaron. 34. Single dad. Warm eyes, tired from a long workday. Across from him sat his 7-year-old daughter, Mia, who was busy coloring a kid's menu. Aaron kept trying not to watch, but the tension at the blind date table was impossible to ignore. Daniel suddenly raised his voice, too loud for a quiet restaurant, loud enough for Lily to notice from the vibrations on the table and the way people turned their heads. He pointed at her plate, scowling like she'd personally offended him. "You didn't tell me we'd have to do everything through a phone," he snapped, words sharp enough to cut the air. "This is ridiculous. I thought you could. I don't know, at least lip read perfectly. This is too much effort." Lily's face turned pale. She blinked quickly, trying to signal for him to lower his voice, but he just grew more frustrated. She tried to sign something gently, maybe, "It's okay," maybe, "Let's slow down," but he threw his napkin on the table like her hands were an insult. That's when Aaron stood up instinctively, not to cause a scene, but because he could feel her being crushed. Daniel leaned forward, face flushed with irritation. "This was a mistake," he snapped. "I don't date people with complications." Lily's breath caught. Her eyes filled, not with loud sobbing, just a quiet storm. The kind that hurts deeper because it tries to stay inside. And Daniel walked out. Just like that. Leaving her sitting alone with one untouched drink in a room full of staring strangers. She froze. Not because she didn't know what to do. But because humiliation has a way of gluing a person to their chair. Aaron looked down at his daughter. Mia looked up at him with wide, knowing eyes. "Daddy," she whispered, "she looks sad." And that was all the permission he needed. He walked over, slowly, making sure not to startle her. Then he knelt down beside her table. Lily didn't look up at first, her eyes were fixed on the glass of wine in front of her, but she felt someone close. Her shoulders stiffened. Aaron tapped gently on the table so she would know he was there. When she finally looked up, he didn't use his voice. He used his hands. "You deserve better." Her eyes widened in shock. She wasn't used to strangers signing to her. She wasn't used to kindness from people who didn't expect anything back. Her hands trembled as she signed back, "You know sign language?" Aaron nodded, smiling softly. "My daughter," he signed. "She's learning. I'm learning with her." Lily's eyes instantly shifted to Mia, who was waving shyly from the table. The little girl lifted her hands, a bit clumsy but full of heart, signing, "Hi, pretty lady." It made Lily's lips curve into the smallest, most fragile smile, a smile that hadn't been there moments earlier. Aaron returned his attention to her. "Are you okay?" he signed. Lily hesitated. Then, after a deep breath, she signed, "I'm embarrassed." Aaron shook his head firmly. "Don't be." He left because of his own limitations. "Not yours." She swallowed hard, the truth hitting deeper than the insult. Aaron gestured toward Mia. "We're about to have dessert. Would you like to join us? You don't have to, but you shouldn't sit here alone feeling like you did something wrong." Lily blinked quickly, trying not to cry again. There was something different about Aaron. Something steady. Something gentle. Something safe. She nodded. Aaron offered his hand, not romantically, not boldly, just kindly, and guided her to his table. Mia scooted over and patted the seat beside her like Lily was a long-lost friend she'd been waiting for. Lily sat down slowly, almost cautiously, as if afraid the moment might disappear. But it didn't. Mia grabbed her coloring pencils and signed, "Want to help?" Lily nodded, tears gathering again, but this time they weren't from pain. They were from warmth. From unexpected belonging. Dessert came, 3 small plates of chocolate cake with vanilla drizzle. Lily laughed silently as Mia smeared chocolate on her nose and tried to copy Lily's careful motions exactly. Aaron watched them with a softness in his eyes that only a parent, or a man who has known heartbreak, could have. At one point he leaned toward Lily, signing slower so she could read it clearly. "Some people will never understand your world. But that doesn't mean your world is smaller. Or less beautiful. It just means you need someone willing to learn." Lily looked at him for a long moment. No one had ever said something like that to her, not in words, not in gestures, not in silence. She signed back, "Thank you, for being kind to me." Aaron signed, "Everyone deserves kindness. Especially on the days they feel unlovable." Mia tapped Lily's shoulder and signed, "You're my friend now." Lily laughed silently and signed back, "I'd like that." The night that had begun with humiliation slowly turned into something else, something gentle, sweet, and unexpectedly healing. When the check arrived, Lily reached for it instinctively. Aaron shook his head. "No. Tonight is on us." She shook her head back, smiling, insisting she contribute. Aaron leaned closer, signing with a joking grin, "If you pay, Mia will think you bought her eternal chocolate." Mia gasped and signed, "Forever chocolate?" Lily laughed. A real, full laugh, even if it made no sound. And she let Aaron take the check. Eventually, the evening came to an end. Mia hugged Lily tightly, like she'd known her for years instead of an hour. Aaron walked her to the door of the restaurant. Outside, the rain had stopped. The air smelled like wet pavement and new beginnings. Aaron signed, "You're strong. Don't let anyone make you feel small." Lily signed, "You made tonight better than it should have been." "Good," he replied with his hands. Everyone deserves at least one person who shows up when things fall apart. They both stood there for a moment, smiling shyly. Not rushing. Not pushing. Just grateful. Finally, Lily signed, "Maybe, we could meet again? For coffee? Or just to talk?" Aaron nodded without hesitation. "I'd like that." And something in Lily's heart, something that had been tight and hurting all night, finally loosened. As she walked away, she glanced back once. Aaron was still standing there, smiling. not a romantic promise.